My fiancée mocked me at her bachelorette party, saying she was stuck with me for life. She didn't realize I was on the group video call. So I unmuted, ended the engagement, canceled the entire wedding, and her reaction was worse than I expected. Then my fiancée, Emily, had her bachelorette party at a lake house her friends rented for the weekend. I wasn't supposed to be involved at all, obviously, but her maid of honor accidentally added me to their group video chat. Not the main call, not the one they were actively using. The planning group chat they kept open on a big screen in the living room. So while they were popping champagne, music blasting, everyone yelling over each other, the screen was still on, showing all participants. My icon was there, muted, camera off. Nobody noticed. I wasn't really paying attention to my phone, just hearing random notifications and assuming they were normal messages. But then the call connected on my laptop at home, huge and loud, because I'd forgotten to close the app. Suddenly, I'm looking at the lake house living room, full of drunk bridesmaids. I was just about to exit the call when someone behind Emily yelled, "Em, give us a speech. Tell us how you feel before the big day." The girls cheered. Emily stood in the center, lifted her drink, and laughed. Okay, a speech," she said, wobbling slightly. I expected something cheesy, something sweet, something bridal. Instead, she rolled her eyes dramatically and said loud enough for everyone, including me, the unexpected audience, to hear. "Can't believe I'm actually stuck with him for life. God, imagine. I should have had more fun before settling down." Her friends screamed, half shocked, half delighted. Someone yelled, "Girl, don't say that on camera." She waved her hand dismissively. "He'll never know. He's too boring to even check his phone." I felt something inside me go ice cold. They kept laughing. More comments followed. "You could do better, Em. This is your last weekend of freedom. We all know you're the star, not him." Emily smirked, soaking up the attention. And that's when she said the line that finished everything. "Honestly, marriage is overrated. But whatever. The honeymoon in Greece is worth it." Their laughter exploded again. I sat there, staring at the screen, not hurt, not angry, just done. Completely, absolutely done. I hovered my mouse over the unmute button, paused, took a breath, then clicked it. They all froze when they heard the tone of someone unmuting. Emily turned toward the screen. I said, calmly, clearly, and without raising my voice, "Actually, Emily, you're not stuck with me." The room went silent. Someone dropped a glass. Emily's face went paper white. You're on this call?" "Yes," I said. "And since you've made your feelings clear, let me make mine just as clear." I picked up the phone on speaker, dialed the wedding venue. They picked up on the second ring. I said, loudly enough for every bridesmaid to hear, "Hi, this is the groom. I'd like to cancel the reservation for the Thompson Reed wedding next month." Gasps from the lake house. Emily started shaking her head violently. "Stop. Stop. Don't you dare." But I wasn't done. I dialed the honeymoon travel agency. Still on speaker, still on camera. "Yes. Cancel everything. Full cancellation. Under my name." Her maid of honor ran to turn off the TV, but Emily screamed at her not to. I looked straight into the camera. Calm. Collected. Done. "And now," I said, "I'm calling your parents." Emily's face broke. Complete panic. I dialed. They answered. And everyone, her friends, her parents, and Emily, heard exactly what I said. "Hello, this is Daniel. I just wanted to let you know the wedding is canceled. You can ask your daughter why. She's explaining it right now to a room full of people." Emily stared at the camera in horror as her mother yelled through the phone, "Emily, what did you do?" The bachelorette trip ended 4 hours early, according to one of the bridesmaids who later messaged me privately. The moment I hung up on her parents, chaos erupted in the lake house. Emily dropped her drink, burst into tears, and started screaming at everyone, her friends, the TV, the phone, even at me long after I'd left the call. Some girls tried comforting her. Some quietly packed their bags. Some just stared at her like they finally saw a side of her they'd always suspected was there. Meanwhile, I blocked no one. I wanted every single one of them to talk. And they did. My phone started blowing up. "Dude, please call her. She's hysterical. She didn't mean it like that. You misunderstood." I didn't answer any of it. The only message I replied to was from her maid of honor, Sarah, who wrote, "For what it's worth, you didn't hear wrong." I simply replied, "Thank you." When Emily finally called me, it was 2:47 a.m. Her voice was raw, panicked, desperate. Daniel, please, please listen. I didn't mean any of that. You know how girls are when we're tipsy. I was just trying to be funny. You meant every word. I said. You finally said the quiet part out loud. That's not fair, she cried. My friends hyped me up. You don't understand the energy. Oh, I understand perfectly, I said calmly. More than you think. She broke into sobs so loud I had to move the phone away from my ear. Don't do this. Please don't ruin our wedding over one stupid comment, she begged. We've planned everything. People are expecting it. Exactly, I said. They expect honesty too. And now they have it. She went silent, completely silent. Then she whispered the line that told me everything I needed to know about what she cared about. My parents are furious with me. Do you know how humiliating that was? Not, I hurt you. Not, I'm sorry. Not, I love you. It was all about embarrassment. Her reputation. Her image. That sealed the last door inside me. The next morning, her parents came to my house. They were polite, but clearly shaken. Her father said, Daniel, what exactly did she say? We want to hear it from you. I explained, word for word, calmly, without exaggeration. Her mother closed her eyes and sighed. Her father rubbed his temples. Finally, he said, Son, I'm sorry. You made the right call. I didn't expect that. Not from him. Her mother added quietly, We love Emily, but she has always thought she could say anything and the world would adjust itself for her. Maybe this is what she needed to finally grow up. They left without asking me to reconsider, which said more than anything else could. Emily, meanwhile, she kept calling, texting, voicemails, paragraphs. Eventually, her messages shifted from begging to guilt-tripping to anger. You're overreacting. Everyone jokes about marriage. You're embarrassing me. That last one made me laugh out loud. The person who ruined her own wedding was somehow trying to paint it as my doing. I didn't respond. Not once. 2 days later, she showed up at my house. Hair messy, makeup smudged, wearing the same hoodie she always borrowed from me. I opened the door, but only halfway. She tried to push inside, but I held the door firmly. Daniel, please, she whispered, tears already forming. I didn't mean it. You know I didn't. It was stupid. I was stupid. Please don't leave me. Her voice cracked. She actually sank to her knees on the porch. And for the first time, I felt something I hadn't felt for her in years. Nothing. Not anger. Not pain. Not love. Just nothing. I looked down at her and said, If that's how you talk about someone you love, then you don't love them. And I'm not going to marry someone who treats me like an accessory she's settling for. She cried harder, but I continued. Get up, Emily. Go home. She did. Eventually, update 1.3 weeks passed before I heard Emily's voice again. Not in person, not through texts, but through everyone else's mouths. Because the breakup didn't just rattle her. It detonated her entire social circle like a depth charge. And I learned something about people. When a wedding collapses, everyone wants to know why. The story spread faster than either of us expected. Some versions were true. Most weren't. But all of them had one thing in common. Emily was painted as the victim. At least, that's how it started. The first wave. Her friends posted vague sympathy bait. People change. Men always reveal themselves eventually. Sending love to my strongest girl. One even wrote, Imagine leaving a woman over a joke. Embarrassing. I didn't react. Not publicly. Not privately. But silence is a vacuum, and vacuums get filled. Fast. Two of her bridesmaids, the two who'd pulled away from her at the lake house, started responding, subtly at first, then bluntly. You weren't there. Don't assume. Some things can't be laughed off. You'd be shocked at what was said on that call. And then one of them, Sarah, dropped the bomb. He didn't leave her over a joke. He left because she meant it. No details. No drama. But it cracked the illusion completely. People started messaging me for clarification, but I ignored them all. Let them guess. Let them wonder. My dignity wasn't going to be a public exhibit. The second wave. Emily tried to control the narrative. She posted a long, tearful story on Instagram. Classic shaky handheld. Sniffles between sentences, sad piano music in the background. She framed it as, I was drunk, I was overwhelmed. It was just a girl moment. I love him more than anything, and he blindsided me. But she slipped. Twice. Once when she said, he embarrassed me in front of everyone. And again when she said, we had problems before that. He was distant. That distant line was the spark. People who knew us started DMing me screen recordings. Her own acquaintances were stitching her video with captions like, "Girl, you called him replaceable for months." One clip even showed her at a brunch weeks before the Bachelorette trip, telling her friends, "He's good for stability." Not exactly exciting, you know? I'd heard versions of that before, but seeing her smirk as she said it, that hit different. Still, I didn't engage. Not my job to correct her. Truth has a way of leaking out naturally. And it did. The third wave, her parents stepped in. I wasn't expecting this. One evening around 9, I got a call from her father. "Daniel," he said in a tired voice, "she's losing control of the situation. And honestly, she made this mess. She needs to learn from it." I said nothing at first. Then he added, "We've told her to stop blaming you publicly. If she keeps lying, we will correct the record ourselves." That floored me. Her family wasn't covering for her. They were done enabling. He ended the call with something that stuck in my head for days. "You don't know her silence." Except here's the thing. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want sympathy. I didn't want to win online. I just wanted my privacy back. So I stayed silent anyway. The messages she sent me shifted through emotional weather patterns. Apologetic, defensive, icy, desperate, denial, anger, back to desperate. She begged for a meeting, then demanded it, then accused me of ghosting her, then apologized for that accusation, then sent a 5-paragraph confession about insecurity issues, then followed it with a picture of the wedding rings I'd already returned to the jeweler. Every day was a new tone. I didn't reply, not out of cruelty, but because anything I said would just feed the storm she was building around herself. This part surprised me the most. I expected to feel relief, anger, betrayal, bitterness, but mostly I felt stillness, like my life had been shaking for a long time and someone finally turned off the vibration. The silence from my phone, no drama, no demands, no expectations, was almost euphoric. For the first time in years, I slept deeply. I'd forgotten what that felt like. I cleaned my apartment, went back to the gym, cooked actual meals, reconnected with friends I'd unintentionally drifted from. It was like my world had been weighed down by this invisible tension I never acknowledged. And now everything moved easier. A week after her Instagram meltdown, one of Emily's own friends, the one who first called me during the trip, reached out again. Her message, "You should know something." She wasn't drunk. Not that night. She said that because she thought it was funny. I stared at that message for a long time. Not angry, not hurt, just finished. I replied, "Thank you for telling me." And that's when I realized there was no fixing this. No apology that could erase the rot underneath. No explanation that could rebuild the trust she herself destroyed. This wasn't about one comment. It was about a person who never truly valued the relationship she was in. And I was finally seeing it. I changed my number. Not out of spite, but peace. Filed notice with the venue and vendors. Handled refunds. Closed everything quietly. Took a week off work. Just lived. Reset. Breathed. People kept talking, posting, speculating. But their voices sounded distant, like background noise from another room. Because I wasn't part of the drama anymore. I wasn't tied to her story. I wasn't holding the rope while she pulled. I let go, and she fell into her own narrative. Final update. 4 months after the breakup, just when the noise had finally died down and the world stopped orbiting around the crater of our ruined wedding, Emily tried one last time to rewrite the ending. But by then, the story wasn't hers to rewrite anymore. I had built a life again. A small, peaceful life, but mine. Therapy, gym, work, dinners with friends, weekends without drama. It felt strangely adult, stable, steady, something I hadn't realized I'd been living without. People had mostly stopped asking questions. The Instagram battles dried up. Her friends moved on to new gossip. Even her parents reached out occasionally just to check in, not to talk about her. But Emily never truly let go. She resurfaced in the most predictable way, a long, rambling email with the subject line, "Closure." I didn't open it. Not because I was angry, but because I didn't want to reopen a wound that had already scarred. But life rarely respects boundaries the first time they're drawn. It happened on a Thursday, the kind of dull, normal day where nothing is supposed to happen. I got home from work, set down my bag, started heating leftovers. Then someone pounded on my door hard enough that the picture frames shook. My first thought was some kind of emergency. I opened the door, and there she was, Emily, hair flat, face pale, dressed simply, no makeup, no performance. Holding a stack of envelopes and printed screenshots like a student about to present a failing final project. Behind her, her car was parked crooked, half on the curb. "Daniel," she said, voice shaky but determined, "please don't shut the door. I need you to listen." I didn't move, didn't invite her in, just leaned against the frame and let her talk. She started slowly. "I lost friends over this," she said. "More than you know. People stopped trusting me. My business page got hit with comments. I had to delete my accounts for a while." She swallowed hard. "My parents won't talk to me about the wedding. My dad, he said I needed to grow up. He's never talked to me like that before." Her eyes filled with tears. "For weeks I thought you ruined my life. But the truth is, I ruined it when I forgot to respect you. You never yelled. You never humiliated me. You just—" Her voice cracked. "You walked away. And I realized that's the only thing I actually feared." She handed me the stack of papers, printed screenshots of her own apology posts, statements she wrote but never published. Pages of self-analysis her therapist apparently made her write. Admission after admission. It was the first time she ever displayed vulnerability without dressing it up in defensiveness, sarcasm, or theatrics. For a moment, a short, human moment, I felt a flicker of sadness for her. But not regret, not longing, not love, just compassion for someone finally seeing the wreckage they caused. Her voice softened. "Is there any chance at all, that we could try again someday?" And there it was. The question she'd been circling, rationalizing, crumbling toward. I let silence sit between us for a long moment. She looked at me as if hope were something she could build out of air if she held her breath long enough. Then I answered, "No." She blinked like she didn't hear it the first time. I repeated, slower, gentler, "No, Emily." Her face cracked. But not like anger, not like victimhood, not like humiliation. This time, it was acceptance, painful, reluctant, but real. She nodded, cleared her throat, wiped her face with her sleeve. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay." She turned around, walked to her car, and drove off without looking back. That was the last time I saw her. Life didn't magically become perfect. There was no triumphant ending, no new love waiting immediately, no cinematic closure. But there was peace. I learned to enjoy quiet mornings with coffee. I learned how to cook more than 3 meals. I learned how to sit with my own thoughts without feeling like I needed to prove myself to someone. I learned that relationships built on criticism disguised as humor don't improve, they decay. And most importantly, I learned that walking away isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the most courageous thing you can do for yourself. Her parents sent me a holiday card months later. Simple, polite, warm. No mention of their daughter. A mutual friend told me Emily moved to another city. Smaller place, smaller job, smaller circle. She's rebuilding in her own way. Good. Genuinely. I hope she becomes the person she thought she was pretending to be. But her story is no longer tied to mine. Our lives diverged the moment she joked about being stuck with me, and I finally believed her. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I'm not haunted. Just free. And freedom, as it turns out, isn't loud. It's quiet. It's steady. It's the feeling of locking your door at night and knowing the only life you're responsible for is your own.